Right, guys, what's happening? Happy Sunday, everyone. So this is obviously the day that I start prepping. I thought I would explain something to everyone. It's a bit of a story on, one of the clients that I've been working with, and obviously how we kind of identified what his kind of parameters were, in regards to mindset. So he's been trading obviously quite a large account. It was around 200K. He almost blew it probably end of last year. But then he worked it back from 20K all the way back up to 200K. Now, once he got to 200K, he then blew it again back down to about 100K. And then he built that up again over probably about the space of a month and a half. He got it back up to 200K and now blew it again. Now, one of the there was a couple of things that we took from the chat that we had, and we're on a call for a good kind of hour. One was, he's 100% got the skill, to trade up, because he's proven it, three times over. Now, one of the things we identified was that obviously, he achieves his goal every time, which is to get the capital back, and he achieves it very, very easily. Now, one thing that I asked, and it was a very, very, couple of simple questions. I was like, what was your goal after you've achieved it, after you've achieved your capital back? And his goal every single time, he had no goal. There was no goal from there, because he'd achieved it. And then it was almost like you're then running wild, because you got no goal, no routine, no expectations. But actually, if you look into it, you got very, very, very fixed risk parameters leading up to it. So, that was obviously, number one that we identified. And then I said, right, you're going to have to do this again, which I've got no concerns at all, because you've already proven that, you can do it 3 times. But then I said, what we want to do differently this time is we want to have a nice routine. So we want to have a daily routine, because he trades very, very differently to, me. He's more of a scalper, like gold, but he's very, very good at it. So, we're obviously putting some risk implications in. So, if he achieves a certain target in profit every day, he stops. If he achieves a certain target in loss every day, he, stops. We also identified, after chatting about it, he didn't really know why he was trading the New York session. We identified, he had a very, very high probability of winning during London, but New York, was a bit of a whirlwind, a bit of a roller coaster. So once we obviously identified this too, then obviously that was when we could really, really, hone in right. You're only going to trade London only. All right. You're going to trade during these times. You're going to risk this amount, and then you're going to, stop. And actually we worked out, if he could do this for 12 months, he'd almost double what he's lost. But obviously what he will have developed in the meantime is the routine. Now, I'm going to be sharing lots of, stories like this, because obviously I chat with a lot of you guys. I've got some incredible stories that you guys have shared with me, and it's a way, obviously, that I can do it quietly without mentioning any names. But I think it's going to really, really help everyone, in regards to hearing other people's stories, and obviously how it's just a simple kind of mindset shift that will obviously help you to, turn your routine into profits. I'm very, very open. If you've been trading for 6 months, you should know the charts inside out. You should know how to spot a trade. The one thing that we need to work on is your routine. So that's just obviously one story that we've got, that I had this call last week with this particular person, and I'm now checking in with him every single day, just to make sure that obviously he's staying on track, and hopefully we'll have a nice success story in 12 months.